Welcome to another behind the scenes video. Today we are looking at these three projects: multipass, levels, and lasers. So look, I'm just in love with these colors, right? The thing with refraction is that it's always been so hard to render, and I tried that many times a couple of years back, using Cinema 4D and physical render, and it's just been impossible to render this properly without having to wait hours and hours. So now, thanks to denoisers and GPU rendering, just so easy to render these out. So yeah, let's get inside of the first project, which is the multipass one. As you can see, I'm gonna go outside of my camera, and I started by creating this kind of voxel here, sphere here, and then I just wanted to add more detail so that it doesn't look like a cube. So I added some random cubes here and there. So I'm gonna go to my cube, and I'm gonna go to my geometry node system, and as you can see here, I merge everything inside of the same join geometry, right, with one single texture. And yeah, that's pretty much how I was able to create that. So let's take a look at the rendering. So yeah, as you can see here, it creates this nice refractions. So yeah, I just love the way this look. It just makes it more interesting. And if I just add this one, yeah, this is why I wanted to add more detail so that I don't have this symmetry. I love symmetry usually, but in this case, it was pretty nice to be able to add other stuff like that, other element to make it more interesting. So yeah, let's take a look at how I was able to make that. I'm going to close this. We have a cube, and I'm actually gonna take my output here so I can show you. We have a cube. We turn that mesh to volume, and we distribute point into that volume. And as you can see here, I have this set to grid. So this is our volume with the point as a grid. I then added instance on point. So we have our instance on point, which is another cube object. And I had to add here a cube object and drop it inside because I wanted my cube to have some bevel. So I create a cube and I added a bevel modifier to it. I drag and dropped it inside of my node system, and I just played around the scale. I added some subdivision, and I also been controlling the scale thanks to a wave noise. So we saw in the last video how to pretty much play around noise, wave textures, and in this case we have exactly the same thing, but this time it's on a 3D object. So we have all faces, and if I change the phase offset, you can see how this looks like, right? We can adjust also here the smoothing. Then we realize instance to be able to create, individual cubes, and set material, and this is what we have. And after that, I just duplicated this one, changed the scale, changed the where it was on my scene, added some subdivision, and when you add everything together, you kind of get this geometry here. But the important part, of course, is the texturing. So let's get in the shader editor, and this is what we have. So I don't remember which tutorial I saw. I saw a couple of ones that were using this method to be able to add refraction. And again, in Cinema 4D, refraction used to be a part of the texturing shader. So you just had a refraction point that you could slide. But here again, you need to make everything on your own. So we have a 3 different glass shaders, right? With different colors and different EOR value. So what I did here is just I added an add after the to the second one and third one, and I changed the value to minus 0.1 and here minus 0.2. So I only have to change this value to be able to control how this looks like. So as you can see now, if I change this, I can have different output and they are not the same. After that, I added everything into a add shader for the for the first one, another add shader to be able to add the third one, and a mix shader with a simple glass texture, again set to white. And inside of the mix factor, I added a transmission depth, because without that, we lose a lot of depth, as you can see here. So we need to add a transmission depth. This is pretty much how you can achieve this look. And also, you know, apart from the texture, the other important part are the lighting. So my light, I have 3 lights. I actually have 4 lights. So I'm going to close everything, and I have a background light as well. So let's go to the world object, and as you can see here in my world, I added kind of this noise texture that covers on my world, and I thought this was a nice way to add more light into the scene. Color ramp, background, and inside of the world output. So just with this, we already have a nice lighting setup. So, you know, you can control the noise as you want. I also wanted to add a light source inside of the cube. So in the center, as you can see, I have a point light with a small radius. And I added also a couple of other lights around my scene. So as you can see, I have a light inside of an empty node. And this way I can simply click on the empty and change my light around without having to get out of my camera. So as you can see here, my light is rotating at the center of my empty. And to do that, it's fairly simple. You need to add an empty arrow, and after that you can create a light. So let's add a area light. I'm going to take my light upward. I'm going to select the area and my empty, go into my viewport, right click, and parent object. And as you can see here, now my empty has the light inside. So I can click on my empty, take the orbit tool, and now my light will rotate around my object. So yeah, let's check out the second project. So the second project is pretty much the same, you know. So I tried to change a couple of things around. So as you can see here, I have a lot more cubes. So I'm going to close all of these and just take a look at this one. So as you can see, I actually added a duplicate of this shader, and I joined everything together. So we have this setup, which is again the same setup that we had with a noise texture. And the second one is again the same thing, but I changed some things around. I made the cube a lot smaller, and when you combine these two, you have this type of geometry. So the big one inside with some smaller cube outside. After that, I just created some cubes, another one here and another one up there. And yeah, that's pretty much what I did. The texture is exactly the same. Let's go to the shader editor. It's the same. This time it's just 1.5. The first one was 1.7. Apart from that, I didn't change anything. And my render settings for these, let's take a look. They are all the same, I think. Yeah. And the denoise optics here, of course. And that's pretty much it, you know. You can take a look at my render settings. You know, the max bound is also an important one to have in mind. I set this to 64, so you don't need to add this to everything. All right, and let's open up the third project, which is the laser one. This is my favorite project. I mean, it looks really nice, and the nice thing is we have this kind of laser that has here a I don't know how a refraction inside of the cube that I've placed, and it just looks nice, right? So let's take the camera off. As you can see here, you can pretty much understand the setup that I have now. So let's get inside of my cube, and there's a lot more stuff happening. We have our big cube, which is this one right here. Here we have a setup which includes two different type of noises. So let's see how this looks like. So this is the first noise, and if you add the other one down below, it kind of eats away some of those cubes, which looks kind of a decaying you know, effect. And the last one, we have this, which is kind of a outside layer, the same thing, the same setup. And if we add everything together, we have this geometry. And let's jump inside of the camera again. Yes. And these are cubes. Again, I added a lot of cubes, very thin cubes. As you can see on the z-axis, they are very thin. 0.05 and 0.02. And I added the same texture for each of those kind of cube lights. And as you can see with the refraction, it creates this kind of RGB effect here, as you can see. And yeah, it just looks really, really nice. And that's pretty much it for this series. Very quick video because, you know, the setup is fairly easy to create. We've been through some of those setups already. So now it's finally nice to be able to combine some of these setups together to create something a little bit more complex. But yeah, hopefully you are following along these tutorials, this backstage series. And that's it. I will see you guys in the next one. Cheers.